Okay, so we're doing four guided meditations. This is number two of four. If you haven't done the first one, maybe go and find that one, and that one will bed you in. They're supposed to sort of build on each other. So, although you could quite easily, they're very simple. You could just join in this one if you wanted, but recommend doing them in order. Um, Everybody's overwhelmed. We all know we're overwhelmed. We all know that each other are overwhelmed. We're in sort of a bit of a mad loop with it all. Um, and then we're being sold cures and breath practices and supplements and electronic devices that are going to be the solution that we need to our anxiety and our overwhelm and give us the lives that we truly want to live. All the advertising speaks. So I've got none of that for you. I've got simple practices that work over the long term. We're talking 10 years of committing to yourself. That sort of long term. Not certainly not quick fixes. They will work straight away. You lie down, you feel the floor, then you will feel some benefit straight away. But really, they're not going to radically alter your life. They're just going to give you a moment in your day. Um, and sometimes, so the moments obviously build on each other, don't they? We have a moment in our day to think a bit clearer, and then maybe we make better food choices, stuff that's going to less inflame our bodies, and then maybe that makes us sleep a bit better. So, don't underestimate what simple practices can do, but it's not radically going to change who we are in the world straight away. So I'm not selling anything other than creating a better space to let's at least show up for ourselves. Let's show up and, uh, I'm going to dedicate myself to nurture myself because the world needs it. We need it, and the world certainly needs it. Um, and the result will be whatever the result is. The outcome will be whatever the outcome is. But at least if we sort of make that dedication, I'm going to show up and nurture myself because that's the kind thing to do in a very unkind world. Already, that got quite heavy there, didn't it? But hopefully, we can come home to ourselves by lying on the ground. So I invite you to take up some space. That might mean clearing some laundry. It might mean clearing the kids' toys. We're not letting perfect get in the way of anything. We're just going to do our practice wherever we're at. So we're lying down, maybe a little cushion or a book to support the head and neck, maybe a blanket if you tend to cool down pretty quickly um, when you lie down. So lying down with our knees bent and our feet planted would be how I recommend it, but just set it up however you could do it sitting up in a chair if you wanted to. But recommending the main emphasis is feeling into the earth. And if we're lying down, we're not going to fall off a chair or we're going to be fully supported. So it's a nice place to find ourselves. And I'm just doing the talking thing, so you've got something to connect into as you're settling, because that can be, when we stop, when we've been busy all day on with things, on with jobs and distractions and scrolling and all the rest of it, then we don't notice all the agitation that's sitting with us all the time. But you bet we do as soon as we stop and lie down. So hopefully I'm doing a good job of distracting you enough, or not even distracting you, but just anchoring you as you're facing all of that snowstorm. I mentioned in the first meditation that shaking the snow globe, and when we stop shaking, all of the snow inside the globe is rattling around, and that's basically what we're met with when we stop, which is why not many of us meditate, I think. And one of the reasons is because it is quite anxiety inducing just to stop and be presented with all of your world and all of your thoughts all at once. But um, the path is the way through. If we turn towards that stuff, then it becomes more clear, and it becomes more of a peaceful space to be in. Or we just make peace with being with the disturbance rather than getting that Zen mind that we all fantasize about having that inner peace. It's just about making peace with the chaos of it all. So we're grounding, we're feeling our feet on the floor, we're feeling gentle pressures through the buttocks and the hips unwinding as you feel that support. You're feeling support perhaps around the mid back, somewhere on there, and allowing the mid back and the back ribs to soften into the earth. And then we can move out in our awareness, moving out into those shoulder blades, allowing our shoulder blades. And the nice thing with having a left and right shoulder blade is we can compare left feelings to right feelings. Getting curious as to what's going on in our bodies rather than trying to fix or even adjust anything right now. If you find things are relaxing and opening and you're finding that natural length, then you might need to adjust and take up more space on the floor. That's a good thing. I don't feel like you have to be frozen in the spot. It's your practice, your time. Everything I say is just an invitation. Maybe from our shoulder blades, we move out into the arms and just feeling the weight of the arms. And the first practice, I invited you to maybe lift up one arm at a time, just so you can feel the weight of that thing. You can notice some of the tension it required in holding it. So if we lift it up just high enough to get a sheet of paper or maybe a magazine at the back of there, slowly lifting, just clearing the earth, feeling the weight of it. And then on your exhale, just placing it down. That's a nice feeling, just allowing it to let go into the earth. And we can do the same on the other side. Maybe starting with the shoulder blade, we have a sense of lifting off the floor to get a sheet of paper back there and slowly lifting the whole arm, just hovering it off the floor. Maybe your hand is still down, but maybe the rest of the arm is just hovering off the floor. Notice the weight, notice that tension, and in the exhale, we get that lovely opportunity to place it back down and have a sense of letting it go. So we're all body at the moment, everything below the neck, so no mind, just only body. It's a nice place to be, nice place to find ourselves. And then let's bring the mind in on the axe. It doesn't feel left out. Let's have a sense of where our back of our head makes contact with the floor. And you can have a sense of the muscles. So carry a lot of tension, don't we, through our jaw primarily. And that jaw maybe up into the temple. And our neck. Huge amount of tension through our neck. Sometimes the sides of our neck and sometimes the back of the neck. Sometimes both. So just being with some of that tension and noticing is enough for the process to already start to unravel. The body knows what it needs to do. It just needs sort of a light shining on it. We just need the awareness there. So that's the sense of our whole body lying here on the floor, and we've had that nice settling period. So hopefully we're feeling a bit more grounded, a bit less in our head, and a bit more in our body. That doesn't mean we're zen. That doesn't mean we're peaceful all of a sudden. The anxiety can be there, can still be strong. But we're doing it. We're here. We're lying. We're with the earth. We're being supported by the earth. And then let's bring our breath way into the body, so into our lower abdomen. If maybe just to give you a point of reference, if you go through the belly button, imagine going through the belly button towards the spine, just in front of the spine, say, and then from that point dropping down towards the pelvic floor, maybe halfway down there. And then maybe there's a sense of breathing into a little disc, a little ball size, sort of. Don't think too much about it, but just intuitively, does it feel like there's a space that you can breathe into in the pelvis there? And as you breathe in, maybe that ball expands and gets bigger. And as you breathe out, it gets dense and it sort of comes back to itself. And that's today's practice essentially, just breathing into this space, feeling the ball take up space and expand on the inhale, and then a sense of coming back to itself. I like to think about the tide coming in, coming out, just coming back to itself. And that's our practice, our grounding and our breath, and anchoring ourselves right into our body, trying to get away, as far away from our mind as we can. All right, I hope you enjoyed that practice. I've got to do the school run now. Life goes on. Just a moment in our day, just tend to ourselves. You've done really well. Thank you. Appreciate your presence and being with me.